Hello everyone. Once again, thank you so much for attending this demo. And again, this is Zeke, your dedicated product engineer. And today we're going to discuss more about the advanced endpoint protection. And thanks to our product success manager, who actually made an introduction about this product and also gave you a little bit of background about how our Komodo client security works. All right, so let's get started. Here on my screen, I have my demo PC and I have my associated profiles open. So I just want to tell you which profile is currently applied to my endpoint or to this machine. And actually this demo PC that is selected right now on my screen is the virtual machine that I'm on right now, this one. Okay. So on the next tab, I have the profile open, the demo hardened Windows profile. And I have the antivirus section open and the exclusions. So the reason why I actually made exclusion in here is to show you how our containment works. So antivirus is the section or the very first layer of defense of Komodo client security, which actually checks the file by its signature. So it is checking the file by the signature if it's part of the known bad or the known good list. So I have here a cryptic malware, which is a type of malware that encrypts your document files and shows you a ransomware screen afterwards, and tells you to pay something, or they're going to encrypt everything, or they will never bring back your files, something like that, right? So this is a very common type of ransomware nowadays. All right. I also have a document file right here that I'm going to show you later that even this cryptic malware is running in the background, I will still be able to open this. Okay. So let's go back here. Now, if I don't have any exclusion regarding that this malware on my desktop, so if I extract this file in my desktop right now, it's going to be automatically deleted. That's because of my antivirus layer of protection. So this is classified as a bad file right now. So again, it is going to be deleted just like that. Okay. Now, I'm going to make an exclusion here in the antivirus layer, since it's deleting that known bad file, so that I can also make some modification to that known bad file. Okay. So we have three different ways of doing the exclusion. One is by the path. So this talks about the folder, or the location of the file, or excluded application by setting the direct location of the file or of the application. Right? And then the group, it is a combination of path and application. Right? So let's go for the application first. Here in the third tab, I have a group. Okay, it's I created a group called whitelist, and there's all other predefined groups that you can use, but you can also create your own. So in my case, I created my own. It's called whitelist, and this is the file that I want to be excluded. That's the exact location of the file. So I'm gonna click add. Paste the exact path of the application, or I can also do it this way by just going to the groups, click add, and then call the whitelist. So this way I'm excluding both of this application. And by the way, this is accessible by going to the settings, system templates, and then we have the file group variable tab in there. Right, so I'll just have to type in the name of the variable that I want to create, and then just list down the applications or path that I want to be excluded. Okay, now I'm using this variable right here, and I just added it already, and I just have to click save. Okay, so let's switch to a different layer and put it right back there, just to make sure that the exclusion is successfully applied. So there's the cryptic, there's the whitelist variable. Now if we go back to my desktop, extract the file again, it should not delete this or quarantine this malware. And by the way, the action of the antivirus layer is to automatically quarantine the threat, because that's what I actually set up right now here under the real-time scanning option. So it's not showing any antivirus alert pop-up or dialog box, and it's automatically quarantining the threat. Okay, I can also just show a pop-up alert and let the user decide if he wants to quarantine or block the threat. Okay, but commonly we are disabling the pop-up because it's going to either annoy the client or the end user, or it may make them panic about what they're seeing. So it's much better if they don't see anything, and it just the Komodo client security can just take some action about this known bad files. Okay, so going back to the desktop, the cryptic is still right there. That means that this settings that we just made, or this exclusion that we just made, took its effect already to the system, right? So given that we're doing the changes to the portal, it's just great that it's doing a real-time update to your ITSM portal, and that's one of the best things about our Komodo client communication. Okay, it's actually feeding whatever we do to the profile real-time to the endpoint. Okay. Anyway, going back here, I have this cryptic malware on my desktop, which is still considered as a known bad file at this point. But I'm going to use this hash manager application, which allows me to basically change some attributes of the file. So I'm gonna change the MD5 value to be exact. Cryptic. There you go. So this is the old MD5 value, and I'm providing a new one. Okay. And I'm also going to use the hex editor application. So this allows me to add more values or remove some hex values to the file. But in this case, maybe I'm just going to add something. But either way, it will just make this file, as a new one or an unknown file. Right. So if I run this to any of the machines in the world right now, no one knows what this file is. Right. It will only you will only know it by its behavior and by the name. Okay, but with the actual signature, no one knows that this is a good or bad file. Okay, now I can actually run this file right now on my desktop with its new classification. All right, and I actually have the task manager open here. And this button shows me all the files that is running in the containment. Okay, so I'm gonna open another window, my file manager, and I'm going to show you the hidden files and the protected operating system files. Alright, so as soon as I run this unknown file right here, it is going to open another folder called vtroot, and that's where all the unknown file goes. Okay, it is going to create a replica, exact copy of the folder that the unknown file is needed. Okay, so I'm going to run this file right now. It should show up initially into your task manager. There you go. There's the cryptic, and there's some unknown task running. That's the cryptic, right? So right here in my containment list, it was able to capture the unknown file, and it's proven under the Komodo rating that it is still unknown. Okay, and it is running virtually, but in a few seconds, this cryptic malware is going to launch Microsoft Word. And Microsoft Word, as we know, is a trusted application. But since it is initiated by this cryptic file, which is an unknown file right now, the Microsoft Word instance will still run within the containment. Okay? One good thing about our containment is you will be able to still change something in here. You will still be able to modify, you will still be able to do what you need to do. So that's what we call default deny posture with default allow usability. Alright, so I will still be able to save this, but it will just go to our contained files list. Okay, so I'll just close out this one right now and then save. Okay, so there, Microsoft Word is now gone, and again, that Microsoft Word opened up within the containment, but I can still open a Microsoft Word instance on my own without running it within the containment. So again, the only reason why that Microsoft Word instance opened up inside the containment is because it was launched by an unknown file. Right? And actually, even there are links provided to from a malware application, it will still open it inside the containment because that link, the source, is still coming from an unknown file. Okay. All right. So now going here into this one, as I told you, there's going to be a VT root folder. Okay. So this is the environment or volume that is being created for the unknown files that is being executed to your machine, right? So I'm going to open the users, my user, and as you can see, it is now trying to replicate everything because this is what the unknown file or this is what the cryptic is trying to do. It's going to each and every folders that you've got, and it's going to try to encrypt them. At this point, it is trying to get some encryption codes and encrypt your files. But yeah, just like that. As you can see, this PDF file on my desktop, we are in the same location. We are in the desktop of this user. Okay, but in my case, my PDF file is still a PDF file. But here, there's a new file format for this client risk report. Okay, now just to show you, this client risk report will still open without any problem. It is still a PDF file, and it is still accessible. Even the cryptic is running in the background and consuming some resources. Okay, so it may slow down the machine a little bit because it's trying to perform some task, and also it's normal for my virtual machine because I have a very limited space in my local disk C. I only have 476 KB left. So going back to the VT root folder, enter the users. There's a lot of files that has been encrypted already. Okay, so in my documents, something has been encrypted, and this is the decrypt information. So of course, it's going to try to tell the user that it has the ability to decrypt your encrypted files, but in reality, there's no way you can do that because they're just trying to get money from the victim. Okay, so yeah, this is what will happen exactly to my desktop if it is not running inside the containment. But since it's inside the containment, uh, you know, all these files are being created within a virtual environment. So it makes the unknown file think that it is running in an actual environment. So that's what it does, right? So I'm actually not gonna wait for the ransomware screen to show up because it's gonna slow down my computer. And also, again, I only have a few space left, and the cryptic is still trying to create more files coming from what I have in here. It's trying to replicate everything. So, it may start slowing down the machine and freeze up if I still let the cryptic run at the back end. So I'm going to basically remove the cryptic right now. And yep, there you go. I- If it comes to the point that your end user calls you and he tries to tell you that there's an application that I tried to run and it slows down my machine, it's inside a containment, there's a green border or something like that, you can actually guide him to reset the container. Okay, because again, since our containment is trying to replicate whatever files that it needs within the actual environment, it may actually consume a lot of resources from your endpoint. But this only happens in this case because it's a cryptic malware, which basically tries to encrypt every files in my machine. Okay, but if it's just a regular type of malware, it should not slow down the computer. Okay, all right. But then again, going back to the reset containment task that I was talking about, so you can just go to the tasks, to the containment tasks, and then you have the reset container option. Then erase the changes. So this means that anything under the VT root folder will be gone by now. So as you can see, I was able to take back 900 plus MB of files. Okay, so the VT root folder is gone as well because I don't have any files contained at this point. Okay, so my machine now is back to normal, but I still have the cryptic malware in there, still not being deleted. Okay, there are a few other layers of protection that may take care of the cryptic malware, like VirusCope, because VirusCope is still actively running in your system. It's a type of behavioral scanning analysis that checks the file within or running within your operating system. So let me go back right here. But the setting that I have for the VirusCope is to scan or monitor contained applications only. So it will only be able to monitor or check the file if it's already inside the containment. Okay. All right. So going back here, I actually have the Valkyrie open. All right. So this is something that you don't really have to do every time, or you don't really have to do it actually, because the Valkyrie, or I mean, your unknown files are being submitted to Valkyrie automatically. The moment it comes into your containment, the containment will submit these files to Valkyrie and let Valkyrie analyze it. So we have two ways of analyzing the file in Valkyrie. Again, that's the automated, which is checking the application by its behavior. All right, and if it's not able to give you a verdict by just checking the behavior, we will submit these files to our human experts, and our human experts will try to determine if the file is either good or bad, you know, by manually checking it. Okay. So, all right. What I'm gonna do here is I'm going to manually analyze the file. So I'm going to manually submit the file to Valkyrie. Okay. So I'm going to click Analyze, select File, and then select the rehashed cryptic. Right. At this point, this is still unknown because I changed the MD5 value and I added some hex values to this file. So if I click Analyze right now, Valkyrie will try to run some series of behavioral scanning analysis to this file, and there you go. Valkyrie was able to solve the problem, was able to give you an analysis of the file, and it gave you a verdict that it is a malware. All right. Okay, so basically, this is what's going to happen if it was submitted to your Valkyrie automatically, and Valkyrie will submit this result to our file lookup server. So file lookup server is another layer of protection that is being checked before it goes to the containment. Okay, it's called file rating here in Advanced Endpoint Protection. The name of the server where the rating is being downloaded is from file lookup server, but the name of the setting or the feature here in advanced endpoint protection is file rating. Okay, so again, this file rating gets something from a server, from the file lookup server, and those are the rating of the files that has been submitted from the Valkyrie. Okay, so we're going to have a much better discussion about each of layers of protection we have for the Komodo client security for our POC demo session. But for now, that's how basically our Komodo client security manages the unknown files that comes into the endpoint. All right. So thank you so much for your time for listening to the demonstration. And again, if ever you have any questions, just let us know. And I hope to see you again with our next demo session about the POC.